Good morning, dear students. You are once more welcome to this online lesson, Biology Form 1. I want to appreciate greatly students who have been working, who have been on and working tirelessly. I want to say that you will not regret, because what we are doing now, as we go on, we'll be evaluating you. So it means everybody should be working. Those who have not started working, make sure that you join the rest who are working. Today, we'll be looking at this aspect of early pregnancy. We'll be looking at the consequences of early pregnancy. Prevention of early pregnancy. Looking at our introduction, our plan has to do with introduction, the consequences of early pregnancy, prevention of early pregnancy. Our introduction, we'll making a review of our last lesson that was talking about early pregnancy. With early pregnancy, we are talking of a child who becomes pregnant at an early age, less than 18 years. We are also referring to it as teenage pregnancy, as we take to view this image. Look at this image. I give you 1 minute to look at this image and comment. Write down your comments about this image. What can we make from this image? First, you look at a young girl carrying a child. A young girl carrying a child. If I were to ask you, how old is this child? If I were to ask you, how old is this child? What can you say about the age of this child? Yes. Somebody talk of 11 years. Somebody talk of 12 years. We see that this child is at a very young age. Teenage age. Child has become pregnant and has put to birth. This is like a child giving birth to a child. Is it not frustrating? It is frustrating. What are some of the things that this child will miss in life? You can recount them. Would this child still be going to school? From the time this child was pregnant, to the time that the child had to give to birth. From the time that the girl child was pregnant to the time that she gave to birth. How was her relationship with the friends? Was it cordial? How was the relationship with the parents? With the brothers and sisters at home? This takes us to of early pregnancy. It creates conflict between the girl and her parents. It creates conflict between the girl and her parents. It leads to school dropout. It results to premature birth due to teenage age. At times, because the child is so young and the fetus developing inside grows to a certain extent, and with the young age of the child, it happens that the child, the young girl, could be giving birth at 6 months. That is premature birth. Lack of finances to follow up antenatal clinic could lead to birth complication. Leads to birth complication. So you take note of the statement. Lack of finances to follow up antenatal clinic leads to birth complications. The teenage parent suffers from the decision of whether to keep the pregnancy or cause abortion. The child undergoes some psychological torture and is thinking that it's better I terminate the pregnancy, and in the course of that it could lead to death. That's what we said. Attempt to cause abortion leads to death. Then the teenage girl, besides the pregnancy, may be infected with HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases. We can name some of them. Sexually transmitted diseases. In case of sexual abuse or rape, it can lead to destruction of the reproductive system. If the child was raped, it can destroy the child's system. Some of the consequences, you can still name others. Then which are some of the ways as a girl child you can do to prevent early pregnancy? Or which are some of the ways you can advise somebody, you can tell somebody, a friend of yours, which are some of the things she has to do in order to fight against early pregnancy, to prevent herself from early pregnancy? We talk of education of youth to say no to sex until marriage. You have to tell your friend that he has to make to himself, take courage to himself and say no to sex till marriage. Equally, sexual abuse should be punishable. These are some of the things that the government takes into place to punish those who carry out rape. Dressing decently can help to prevent rape. So if your friend is a person who dresses sexily, at times you say dress and expose her privacy, it means these are situations that can lead you to rape and possibly pregnancy. Educative programs on sex, birth control, transmission of sexually transmitted diseases should be put in place. Encourage the use of contraceptives by teenagers if they are having sex. Here we are talking of using condoms. Avoid love for material things because it will expose you to sex. You make sure that you avoid love just because you want something from somebody. Parents should follow up their children and support them financially, educationally, and morally. This is on the part of parents. They should always provide for you. They always provide, and your parents always provide. It's just that you always want to get more. So take note. Always appreciate what is coming from your parents and thank them. They always have the best for you. Don't see what somebody is having and say, I must have it. No, it will expose you to early pregnancy. Avoid nightclubs, bars, and excessive drinking of alcohol. All of this will lead you to that. Peer counseling programs should be put in place in school and youth gatherings so as to adapt young people to fight negative peer influence. This is empowering. In schools, students are told about the ways to fight when you are being influenced, how you can resist the influence in order to avoid putting yourself to shame. So this has been our lesson for today, in which I expect you to come out clearly. The points are very clear on the consequences of early pregnancy and how early pregnancy can be prevented. This is how the lesson for today is. I want to thank you for being there and to say if you have questions, you always channel, and to keep up the spirit. I'm happy for this Form 1 student. Those of you who are working, keep up the spirit. Keep working hard. Take note. We'll be evaluating you as time goes on. So you have to keep on. You should not be lazy. You have to be reading your notes. As we give the notes and we are getting to the next lesson, make sure you make a revision so that it takes you to the next lesson and puts you up. Thank you and have a nice day. God bless you all.